Can I ask what you're up to today?
I'm just going to get some food before going to work, which is, doing a show.
Oh, what show are you doing?
I'm doing a show called Coming Clean.
Oh, okay.
So it's on for another 2 weeks, and then we'll see.
So you're a singer or a dancer?
I'm an actor.
Actor? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how have you found acting compared to how you imagined it might be?
You have to have a lot of patience, and I think that you have to have a really good self-dialogue. Sort of, you have to be your own biggest cheerleader, big yourself up, and just surround yourself with really positive people. But apart from that, it's amazing. I think it's great to do what you love to do every day. So.
Just gonna go visit a friend. Just been up to a fabric shop, get some supplies.
Oh, okay. Well, do you make clothes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how did you get into that?
My mum taught me to sew when I was about 7 years old, so I've just been doing it since then.
Do you make similar kind of clothes that your mum made?
No, not at all, no. She's not even into sewing anymore. She just buys her clothes in the shop. But me, what I do, basically in the UK, 60% of the clothes that we throw out end up getting exported abroad because we don't even have the markets locally for all of the second-hand clothes that's produced in this country.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just trying to upcycle them, I guess, just give them a new use.
Is there a kind of an environmental streak in sort of your...
Yeah, there's definitely an environmental thing on it. Yeah, straight.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my day job. I work in recycling.
Oh, okay. So how did you find yourself working in that kind of recycling?
Do you know what? Just by coincidence, really. Yeah, I got a job telling people off about their rubbish. And then it turns out it's a calling.
What sort of busking do you do?
Contact juggling primarily, which is what this is. It's, it's a circus art. So basically, I put a portable boombox down, something like that, and then mess about for probably around 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the area.
What do you most enjoy spending your time doing?
To be perfectly honest, I enjoy bouncing between a very large number of separate things. I play the trombone, I sing, I do circus arts, I have studied psychology and international relations, and I'm working towards a master's in economics so that I can better attempt to, either involve myself in an international governmental organization or an NGO in such a way as to, better shape the world, given that, at the moment, we're looking at something of a backswing, a regression of political stance on a number of progressive issues, which is understandably a challenge. I find it hard to stick to any one of those things because all of them bring me joy, and I don't like pigeonholing myself.
Where would you like to see yourself in 10 years' time?
Hollywood. Yeah, doing something that empowers queer people, and having a platform to do that. Not necessarily specifically I'm doing queer theater, and I have done a couple of queer shows, but I guess it's more about having the platform and then using that to empower queer people rather than telling specifically queer stories. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I do that as well. Gay men, gay women, trans women are still being attacked, just for existing. And there are still a lot of actors, for example, who are not comfortable being out because they think that would affect the work that they'd get. So I think that in some ways, yes, it's there's a lot of visibility, and in other ways it's we're obviously not where we need to be yet because people are not living their lives authentically.
Is there one sort of event in your life that brought you the most happiness?
No, so hey, you got to think about the difference between happiness, that instantaneous moment of total joy, and then this flourishing where you're just you're just living your best life and just kind of living what you want to be. Yeah, so I don't even think about that like one moment. I don't think that's what we should even be aspiring to. It's kind of just knowing that day to day you're living how you want to live.
And on the reverse side, what makes you unhappy?
I guess rubbish, rubbish makes me quite pissed off, I can't lie. Dirt and rubbish, When you work in recycling too long, you get really particular about these things. So yeah, if I go around and I see people being messy, people putting their feet up on the train, I always have to like actually intervene and be like, this is everybody's train. Please put your feet up on the evening standard. That's what it's there for.
To put your feet on it.
Honestly, that's the best use of the evening standard. Put your feet on it.
It's impossible to not look back on your life and be like, oh, if only I did X, if only I did Y, or, oh, what if X happens? Like, I am a generally very anxious person, despite my positive demeanor, and I spend a lot of time, or have spent a lot of time, worrying about what if questions that I can't change, things that have no bearing on where I am. It would be better to say that I have forced myself slowly to learn to think in the moment, because that's generally a better way to live than otherwise.
What makes you anxious?
Lots of things. Like the unknown in general, I think is the best way to put it, because you don't necessarily... What you don't know can and will generally ruin your day. I used to be anxious about a lot more things, I guess. Being judged by other people's a big one. Like, sure. Like, you can put up a facade, and as a performer in general, it's very easy for me to do so, but at the same time I find it very challenging if I feel like I personally am being judged in a scenario, and it's taken me a very long time to feel comfortable about that again, in a way that I feel like I can just sort of work with. Yeah, those are the big ones.
Is there one event in your life that you can remember that brought you the most happiness?
Coming out. Yeah. Coming out to my family brought me... Yes, to date, probably. Like, that's the happiest I've been. And being accepted for it, yeah.
Would you mind just giving me a little window into what that experience was like?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't out for many years, and then I came out I was 24, so about 3 years ago. And I think that you sort of allow yourself to concoct stories of like what that will be like, and whether you'll be accepted or whether you'll be rejected for it, and then it was just amazing to sort of like do it and be totally like accepted. I think that's like a very human thing, right? It's like we all want acceptance or like validation on some level, and we find that through work, we find that through relationships, we find that through sometimes going down the wrong like routes. And I think that it was lovely to like have that acceptance from my family so that I could then go on to like live my life in the way that I choose to. It's been really empowering, yeah.
So where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
Well, that's hard. I think it's best not to really set yourself too strong a goal and an aspiration, because who knows, that might stop you from taking any unexpected opportunity that comes your way, If you set things in stone, then you can't take advantage of the unexpected.
So you're a believer in sort of going with the flow of things, I suppose?
Not exactly going with the flow, more interventionist than that. Yes, just like maybe you're going with the flow and then you see like a convenient rock or eddy to take advantage of. Well, definitely, yes, jump out of the flow and seize that time. If you have values and you live by those values, then you know that whatever happened, at least you didn't compromise yourself. And when things are really hard, and if you're going through a hard, tough period, you just remember that, okay, this is just for a time, and this is for a purpose, and this is to toughen me up, and in the future I'll look back and remember what I've been through and be proud of myself. It's good, if you're there with your friends, and if anyone's going through a hard time, you can remind them of that, and the same that they're going to be there to remind you of that same reality when you're going through a hard time, and we all just stick together and look out for one another.
So So would you say the key to happiness is friends?
Friends help, but I think the key for me is just having faith and knowing that everything happens for a reason, and I don't compromise yourself. Yeah, I think that's, for me, that's the key to happiness. Don't compromise yourself.
People fall in love.